Hey, you guys, this is your girl, Coach Ebony Nicole, the Vice President of the Rochester Black Authors Association, and I am here tonight with another author. Now, as always, y'all know I love it in this space, and I know you love it too. So go ahead, if you're on Facebook, like and share. If you are on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, share, and comment. Oh, Facebook comment as well. And on Spotify, go ahead and join our group by liking, subscribing, and sharing this podcast. You guys, we love to hear from you all, from aspiring authors to writers, publishers, readers, avid readers, those who are like, you know what, I need a good book. Where should I go? To the Rochester Black Authors Association page. I'm going to leave all the information at the end so you know how to find us. We want you, yes, you, any author, writer, publisher, to join us, join the conversation, come on and brag about you, because there are people who need to know that your work exists, and we're going to help you make sure that they find out about you. So, without further ado, enough about what we do. We have a new author here. Well, she's not new to the game, but she's new to us. And she's going to be new to you or reintroduced to you. We have Miss Miko with us this evening. Miss Miko, tell us who you are and where you are from.
Thank you, Ebony. I appreciate the opportunity to get a chance to share with y'all today. My name is Miko Marsh, and I am from Virginia, Hampton Roads area, 757.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually write under two names. So under Miko Marsh, I write nonfiction and children's stories. And under Obelia Akanke, I write spoken word poetry and contemporary fiction. So I kind of go across multiple areas, and I've just moved into starting Right Heart Publishing just to kind of hold it all over, because I also do narration. Currently,
Ooh.
I am providing audio description services through Access Virginia, where I describe things for our blind and visually impaired theater patrons. So when they come to see musicals, like we just did Jersey Boys, and I will fill in the gaps to describe things like their costumes and who's coming on stage, who's saying what, so that they have a more full theater experience. And I've kind of branched into giving writing workshops. So that is me. I love teaching and talking with people and working with people. And and I'm also a marketing and revisions editor with New Degree Press. So
you know what? You got a many hats on, and I'm quite
I
confident
do.
you wear them gracefully. Okay.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like they all bowls or something, trying to hold it up.
So I have so many questions. So my first would be, why did you choose? Because you write across many different genres.
Mhm.
Why the different pen names?
Well, when I first started, I started writing. Well, I did a lot of blogs, and as I was writing, I would do poetry periodically. But by periodically, it would be I'm inspired, and then I might not write anything for years. I would write,
Oh wow.
and I wouldn't write anything for years. I didn't get into fiction until maybe just over 3 years ago. So basically, it was poems and then longer versions of poems. So most of what I did was nonfiction, from school, from papers, Bible blogs. I was a ghostwriter and freelance writer for a couple of years. So those ads that you see for things like apartment complexes, I would write those. And then they'd be sent off, and whatever they decided they'd keep.
Yeah.
So I don't know who kept what, but there's somebody out there that is convinced that the 20 grocery stores that I wrote are actually best in order from 1 to 20 according to what I wrote down. I just but
yeah,
but
your straight face is just like, wow.
Sorry, it was the best at the time for me,
Oh God, that's
but
funny.
I'm a child care provider also. So I opened my first daycare in 2005, and people would come to me with questions. So when I was writing nonfiction and Bible-based blogs and stuff, I used my name because it's nonfiction. I figured it probably wouldn't sit right if I decided to tell you I wasn't who I was. And then when I went, and children's story just kind of came off of that because childcare provider, Bible-based childcare, children's stories. So when I did poetry and I went on stage, I used Obelia because that was a name that I chose. That was a spinoff of a legal board that I used to visit. And a lot of us would get together and talk and we'd complain. So we also had like a pissing board. So I used Obelia to kind of speak up for people who couldn't voice themselves. So Obelia means pillar of strength because I'm saying things that are sometimes hard and sometimes they're very in your face, you know, because my degree is in psychology with minor in counseling. So I'm taking experiences from places I've worked and people I've worked with, and I'm trying to help people have an understanding that just because you're processing it like this doesn't mean they are. So I'm trying to increase the understanding and compassion. So Akanke is Nigerian for to know her is to love her. So I am not coming at you just because I like to attack you. I'm doing this because I feel it needs to be said. So people who remember me from speaking in Japan from 2005 or something like that, and over here they're like, hey, Abelia, like, hey there, you know. I am really awful with names. I am so sorry. You have to be the exact same faces, the same clothes.
Yeah. I'm good with faces. I am bad with names. I'll be like, I know you from somewhere. And I'll run through a list of how we know. Oh, that's how we found. I know. But what's your name again? I promise you, give me your name 20 times. Like, I know in this span of time, Miko, I got it.
Yes.
But if we were in a room somewhere and you introduce yourself,
I will hold an entire conversation with you and wait for somebody to say your name.
That whole part.
And I was just wondering, like, I forgot.
That's what it is. Then I'll say it a few times to make sure it sticks.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm not alone in that. So when did you publish your first book?
2013. I published 2 of them.
2 books in 1 year?
2 on the same day.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, come on, tell us about those.
It's like they are daycare days for providers. Things that you should know before you open your home. So it's kind of like big sister advice because I saw how to run lessons and I saw like the mechanics of getting the legal, and I was like, nobody filled me in on this part. So I'm like, let's talk about this. And the second one was daycare days for parents, answers and tips from a provider. And that came because I had originally started daycare blog, and then I realized I don't want to do this all the time. I don't want to talk about daycare every week, just writing it. But what I noticed is that a lot of people were coming to me with questions for daycare. And I was like, yeah, I see you got these questions off the internet, but I can't take everybody and I'm not a fit with everybody. So I would give them tips and things to look for. And I would try to refer them to other providers that I thought would be a good match with them. And one of the things, there were times that I had to take my children to daycare too. And there are things that I liked and didn't like when I was a child and as a provider and when my children in care. So I passed that on. So while other people are saying, look for safety latches and this, I'm saying, how dark is it? Are the lights off all the time?
Yeah.
Who else is in the house? How often is she entertaining? You know, does she have any support? You know, because if her family isn't supporting her, there's a good chance that there's going to be a problem later.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, so you teach, so these are for people who are not looking for centers, but are looking for in-home type of daycares is what your information is. Okay, that's good.
I did have one for called Introduction to Childcare, which I did about 3 years later, that is based on Virginia Standards of Learning, because it was written to be a supplement for the Virginia school system, or at least the Virginia Beach school system, for their classes. So it could be a little bit flexible. So that one is for people who are aspiring caregivers, but may not be sure where they want to work. So because I've worked in centers and been a nanny and in home care, and I've taken the class, at least the basic certifications for college classes, I'm offering a refresher for people who've already gone through, like, and gotten their child development associate. It is information to help people decide if they'd like to become a licensing agent, the inspector, move towards teaching, move up the direct line for center care, or for people who are considering getting those classes but aren't sure they want to invest that money yet. So I'm kind of giving you some of the stuff that I learned along the way and in class, so that you can decide how much of an investment you want to make into this part of your career.
That's pretty good, because sometimes it'll people will give us the good, only the good things about a thing, but we need to know what those pitfalls are. We need to know what the bad looks like, because we need to know if for sure we can handle those things. So for you to share with people, hey, here's everything to consider, and then they're able to make a sound decision instead of getting into it like, I didn't know that this was even.
Yeah,
Now I'm out here.
and I do
Now I
include some
invested
of
this
my
money.
mistakes. I do include some of my
Yeah.
mistakes. Like, I really wish I had given this person, a little bit more grace,
Yeah.
or I wish, I had tried this. And this didn't work out so well, and this was awesome. But yeah,
I'm
sometimes
so
it's just, you want that reality, not that TV reality. You
yeah.
want somebody to say, you can do it like this, but this is what you could possibly run into if
There's
you
some
don't.
absolutely. And those are the pitfalls in any business. And that's one of the things that about being an author and going through this journey ourselves. When others ask, hey, how'd you do it? You can do that. But let me tell you, be mindful of editors. Okay. And everybody, that's because somebody can make a CD cover doesn't translate to a book cover. Trust me, I. So any flaws in everything that looks good, you just have to know or follow someone or allow someone to guide you around. If you find yourself in a pitfall, don't just, or in a pit rather, don't just stay there like this is the end and give up. No, it's way out. You need to go find research. There's people who have been where you are. So I like that you're taking the good aspects of it and the bad aspects and the middle aspects and just showing them, giving them a different perspective. Because sometimes we can go into a thing with only one vision, and when we are shown another perspective, it's like, oh, I didn't even consider that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I have this I have this feeling that when I write, that I want to put a message or a lesson in everything.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
feel as if I don't, I am losing that opportunity to share something with you. And I sometimes it's an eternal thinking, but I'm like, if I leave tomorrow, if I'm gone tomorrow, I've taken this information with me, and I haven't gotten an opportunity to pass it on to somebody else. And I don't want, and I try to compact it. I try. I could be very wordy. I could be verbose. I can talk a lot, but I try to condense it when it comes to reading. I don't want to give you 400 pages of something where I can say it in 80.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
because I'll be the one that's like, okay, you've told me the color of your dog, the length of its fur, how long it used to be there, but what does that have to do with the next thing?
And that's over explaining. That's when it comes to when authors over explain, or if they feel like they want to spend 6 chapters explaining the thing. You explained it enough, but people aren't dumb.
Right.
And so don't talk to them in that manner. Because I can read, like as a writing coach, I can read when my clients are writing as though the reader will not understand them. And so I'm like, well, I just read 2 chapters and then I X'd out a whole bunch of stuff. Why? Because you already explained it in the first chapter. We don't need to go over it again in chapter 3 because it was fully understood. But sometimes what things could be in chapter 3, I'll move to chapter 1 to give chapter 1 some more meat. But we don't need chapter 3 because we're just revamping number 1.
Yeah,
And
we're
that
right in the
happens with
middle of that
people.
right now.
Yeah, and it's just crazy. It's crazy. But let me ask you this.
Mhm.
You have how many books now under your pen name and your actual name?
19 with the next
19.
one.
Oh
Yeah, I haven't
my
gotten the
goodness.
cover. I haven't gotten the cover for Renee's 18th birthday yet, but it's already written. I just haven't gotten it yet.
When was your last book?
January. Oh, last month.
Tell us about that book.
Okay, that is my newest baby. And you
You
can't
got
see.
it?
Oh, can you? No, you can't. Okay, hold on. Let me take
Oh
my
wait,
little.
go do it, try one more time.
Okay, hold up. Yeah, okay, it's blending in
A
with
little
this
bit.
one. All right, and I
Yeah.
think I've turned orange.
Wait,
So
actually, if you move to your right, is it with the success word? Because
no,
if you move to the
that's a different one.
that's a different. Oh, okay.
That's part 1, and this is part 2. So this is Create Your Success Yearly Planner.
Oh, I like that.
Now this one kind of followed this one, that you don't want success.
Okay.
So they're both they have different functions. So this one came about because people kept asking me how I was hitting on my goals last year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I ended up getting a poetry fellowship with Martha's Vineyard Institute of Creative Writing. I finished writing 3 or 4 books. I helped with my company. I helped 12 authors get published. Reached out to a documentary filmmaker who was using one of my books as a resource. And I won a couple. I placed in a couple of award categories for writing and stuff. So what was going on is that people were saying, "Well, how are you hitting these?" I said, "Oh, I just make these goals, and I try to do these small things." And it started with like 30-day business boosts. And one of the reasons for that is that when you're building something, like when you're starting like when I'm starting my childcare, between the time you decide and the time you open, sometimes you feel like you're not getting stuff done. Yeah. But you're getting your permit, you're getting your business license, you're getting your checking account set up. All those little things are things that are necessary to have this in place. So I'm like, mark these off so you can see your progress. And with this, one of the things that I learned that when I was working on the business book is that people have ideas of things, but they don't tone them in. Like, I may need to turn this light. Let me know if I'm less orange or something. It's like they're making plans. Like they'll say, "I want more money," and I'm like, "Okay, there you go. You feel better now."
Gonna do to get
It's like, but how much? How much do you want? You say you want to be more fit. What does that mean? You want to be able to walk up and down the stairs without being winded. You want to be able to run 3.5 miles. Like we're going to need you to be specific. We're going to funnel these. And then I go through, for me, I kept picking up planners and then they just start and I didn't know what to do with them. So this is like the organizer for the person who doesn't know where to start. And it's also in large print because, like I said, I work with people who are blind and visually impaired. And
I have glasses too. Don't let these. I got another set of eyes. Trust me.
So what I'll do is I'll walk you through who's doing what, why. I'll have spaces for you to put. How are you going to get there? I'm gonna walk you through it. I'm gonna give you steps. We're gonna go through all the W's, the H. the planner is set so that you can start at any point of the year. Because a lot of times my ideas will come in like April. And then I'd be mad when I pick up a planner and it starts in January. I'm like, well, now I've lost part of the year and I don't want it no more. So, I'll help you out, keep you from taking too many things at once. And, I'll have messages for every month, sections for you to put your things in there. And
in the journal, I
don't like to hold on to business cards. So
I don't even
like,
collect them anymore.
Let me just go ahead and put this in here. That way I can remember. And I put in spaces like, why are you saving this contact? Because you hold on to a business card and 6 months later, you don't know who it is.
They're like, what is this for? Yeah.
Right. I was like, I'm like, the date you met, where did you meet them? Memorable detail, what is the information here? So you can write it down. You don't have to put it in your phone. You got 300 people you're not gonna call.
Yep.
And then
I like how you I think it was the monthly part of the calendar where it didn't have a specific date. That's good because people, like you said, you might get into April and it's 3 months are already gone.
Right.
So you can just start it when you please.
And I get frustrated behind that. So I help you put the overall yearly goal, what that is, if that's, to complete this certification, whatever, yearly goal. Then we break them down by month, like, what are you doing in this month? Are you going to a conference this month? I have space for you to keep up with your books, your workshops, any conferences you attended. Make sure you do a little summary after that so you can remember what you've done. And you can see your progress. You can see where you're going with this. And because it's written down and you're checking it off, you're more likely to get it done. And my awesome. Thing is do more things in a more concise time, and it frees up the rest of your time. I took a vacation for like the first time in years last year. Took me a while to figure out what to do on it because I kept wanting to work, but I did get it, and that's the goal. We work and work and work, but the point of working and to do this is to be able to enjoy what you have with the people that are important to you. So I'm like, that's what we're concentrating on. We're going to concentrate on your priorities here. Get rid of the other stuff. What do you need to get done? And like I said, that's the spinoff of this middle book. This middle book is for ideally folks that are typically like middle-aged, they're in something and they're trying to advance, or they're interested in starting a business. Like they're like, I'm ready to get this going. And they're just looking for that next step. But it's really for anybody who has a goal. So this is for anybody who's interested in creating the next, big app, or the person that is concerned about getting their GED and they're facing a fear of some sort. It's actually called You Don't Want Success, which is a play on words, because either you really don't want success, business even looking at here, or you're insulted that I said you don't want success, and the subtitle is used to prevent you from achieving your goals. So I'm going through main things like the perfection paralysis / imposter syndrome. I'm dealing with other people's opinions. I'm dealing with money issues. All of these things that have been a major part of myself. I'm not telling you anything that I haven't already worked through. Right. And so each chapter, the topical chapters are broken down into 4 sections. So I talk about the subject matter, then I give you a personal experience where I did something wrong, but I've figured out what the issue was and I worked it through. The third one is an interview with a professional. And then the 4th one is a space, because I figured, I give you a book and then sell you a workbook later. We just provide these.
Put everything in there.
Because, because I'm like, I would want somebody to do that for me. Now, with that professional, I have 10 contributors. The last contributor allowed me to use her poem. So there are 9 interviews, and they vary from finance to fine arts. So these are people who run their own business. They may be working in a business, because not everybody needs to be self-employed. You don't need to be self-employed or have a business in order to get to wherever it is that you're trying to get to. So I have at least one person that's in nonprofit, and I have somebody else that is employed in like the school system, but she's also got her own side things going on, you know, so it kind of fits with everybody, and all of them are Black professionals. And I've asked them, you know, in exchange for them being willing to share their tips and advice, if they want to include their contact information. So most of them have included follow-up information in case, you know, you may not want the book, you may not like anything else I have to say, but if somebody from, say, human resources or in the martial arts field has resonated with you and you want to follow up with them on their services, you can go to them.
And that's really, really good, because that's like a lead for them. When they share their information or expertise, and then their information, that's a lead for them. So there's no telling how many people have already reached out to them based off of the fact that they read the book first.
Yeah, and I hope they have, because I mean, I know all of these people. I know all of the people in there, you know, so I've used their services. I've sat with them for a couple of years, or I knew them for several years. So I'm not just putting up any, the person that I've known the least will probably be the person that was in finance, but I met him because he was given a presentation to our daycare students. So, you know, after school students. So I'm listening to him do a presentation to school age children who are able to understand concepts like interest. You know, so he's explaining interest to them. And I'm like, if you can explain this to them, and then I can ask you questions about what I'm saying. And then when I spoke with him, he's talking about most of the people in here. Actually, I'd probably say all of the people in here, they share this with me, that they're not about just educating themselves or educating a specific client. All of them at some point have given free services, including, in fact, I think he actually offers a free consultation first. And they're about empowering people through education. And that is the primary reason I've reached out to the people that I chose here, because I've sat with them, I've asked them questions, they've taken the time to explain to me. And I'm like, if you'll take the time to explain to me, then I can say, yes, I have some familiarity with this person. And that's why I can refer them here. That is why I chose them to be here.
Be a part of the book. And that's good, because they're not just random people that you saw somewhere. You actually have, except for the one guy, you have a relationship with them, and you can trust the information that they're sharing. Right. So that's pretty good.
But he had some kind of he actually worked with my best friend. So
okay, so there's a level of I know you in there.
Yes.
So okay, good. So my question for you would be, out of all of your 19 stories that you have published so far, poems, anything, fiction, nonfiction, which one would you say is your most, I wouldn't say favorite, but memorable? One that had maybe pulled a lot out of you, one that may have taken you on a journey to actually completing it? Which one would that be? Because at 19, that's a lot.
Yeah, they all have their impact. The one that is still the most emotionally taxing and the hardest to put together would be Living with Jezebel, which is actually the one people know me for.
Tell us about that one.
Living with Jezebel. That's an in-depth look at the queen of narcissism, her tactics, and 3 generations of just destruction. Jezebel, this book is based on the biblical Queen Jezebel. And I kept hearing something called the Jezebel spirit, which a lot of church folks use. I was like, okay, well, that makes it easier. And in secular world, I kept hearing narcissism or narcissist. And I could not see how people were linking these two together. They were like, they do this, she does this, she does this. But I hadn't seen anybody take a chronological look through it. And what happened was, this study was by accident. I was first really introduced to it in about 2010 when I was working at a mental institution. I was working with homicidal, suicidal patients. So
a
lot
homicidal and suicidal.
Yeah, they were fun.
No, not fun.
I mean, a lot of them work because I learned a lot. I just my car comes down and I couldn't get back out there. But
yeah,
I enjoyed actually. I actually enjoyed working on behavioral health sites. It's the politics and the policies that bother me. But one of my coworkers had mentioned it, and I'd look at it periodically, and then I put it down, and then I picked up narcissism studies, and I'd look and I put it down, and I attended something called Bible Jeopardy. I like Jeopardy and I like Bible. So one of the questions was, who was the youngest king in all of Israeli history? I was like, it's got to start with a J. There's a whole bunch of J names. So I got a good chance with a J name, but I didn't know. And then I learned the answer was Joash or Jehoash, depending on which one they want to use at the time. So I went back, and then I was like, okay, we're right in the middle of 2 Kings. And okay, well, let me go all the way back. So I started with Joshua to work my way into the kingship. And as I was studying, I would pick up stuff with Jezebel. I was like, oh, this really started from a personal study. And then I was trying to keep track of her family. Now, the point of it is that there are a lot of traits that narcissists have. They have behavioral patterns. And being on the receiving end can be devastating or deadly. They don't come in to be nice. They come in to absolutely destroy. They suck the life out of you. And depending on what they can get away with, they will. Most of the time, they won't do their own dirty work. They'll set it up and have somebody else do it for them. The documentary I mentioned earlier, we're hoping that it will be ready this year. It's called Unsane, UNANE. But the website hasn't been publicized yet, but it is going to go in depth into the story of narcissism. The filmmaker has interviews from well-known psychologists like Dr. Ramani. Is it Ramani? Ramani. I think it's Ramani. It's got lawyers, law enforcement, and it's in order to, it's basically, it's validating the victims. So when you tell people what you've gone through and they're not familiar with the tactics and how devious somebody else can be, it's usually are you sure that's what happened? I mean,
this person don't seem like that.
Right. So you're like, am I going crazy? It's like you're like gaslighting. They're like, maybe I didn't remember it right. And your life is slowly falling apart. You're being picked apart. Your physical health is declining. You're emotionally a mess. Your mental health is deteriorating. They're financially wiping you out. You're spiritually drained. I mean, you were being attacked on multiple levels. There are so many levels of abuse. It's not it's like, I can't believe this all happened at once. I actually have a narcissism recovery series that I've been doing on my blog. I just started it again, but it's what I call like small steps to recovery, just like little things that you can do piece by piece, just to like, okay, let's get moving. Like, I know things have, today, let's just get out of bed. Today, let's pull the blinds back, let the sun in, and with those, I try to give, there are things that we do to make ourselves feel better, but a lot of times we don't know why. So I also include articles. Some of them may be from like WebMD or TED Talks or something else to say, this is what's going on with your brain. This is why this is going on. This is why this is making you feel better. When you're walking, you're physically helping yourself, and it's like one of the best stress reducers, just like reading is. Reading is like one of the top stress reducers. Hint, hint, so
That part.
but yeah, so this one with it, what I've done is trying to wrap this up now, right? What I've done is I've taken each passage, either put it the whole passage, or I've summarized what happened, told you who the key players are, what's going on, and I'm telling you how her behavior was damaging to Israel or Judah, because she influenced both kingdoms, and how you may see that play out in today's day. So
I'm gonna need that book too. Somebody, when we're done, don't disconnect, because I want to get, I want to order that one in the planner. I think those would be really, really good. So let me ask you this: as 19 time published author with another one on the way, 20, that's awesome. Award winning, nominated, all these great things. If someone comes up to you and say, "How do I get started?" What are 2 things you would tell them?
well, typically I like to talk with people to try to figure out where they're going. But I would ask them what they want to do, because if you want to get into screenwriting, I can't help you. I like the idea, but I don't know anything about screenwriting. And screenwriting or playwright, anything dealing with theater or film, that writing, those styles don't fit the same way with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Are you looking to perform these things? Just like when I work with poets, I said, you got to understand what you do on stage, and when you're presenting like this, that's not going to necessarily translate to your paper.
Translate, nope.
Now, the people who are reading, once they hear you, they may be able to hear your voice, and that's how a lot of poets sell books. Most of us aren't looking on Amazon and say, hey, that looks great, let me go buy that. Yep. Most of the time we're buying it because we've heard you. But just because what is done on stage doesn't necessarily translate to the page. Yeah. So I need to know where you're going with this, what you're trying to do. Are you trying to use it for go towards a business? Is this going to be something long-term, or is this something that you can drop in your bucket list and say, I did it? The second would be, I think the second would be to write, to put it out there. You can clean up stuff later. You can learn as you go and revise things. But one of the things that frustrates me is working with people who keep editing that first chapter.
Yeah, you'll never get past it.
I'm like, I need you to get the rest of the story out. Because nobody else has it. I mean, whether somebody likes it or not, there's an audience for it somewhere.
That's right.
But if this is something that is burning inside you to get out, then go ahead and do it. There's always going to be somebody that says, that's not marketable. Okay, thank you. It's like, that's not very friendly. We don't like that. Okay, thank you. I mean, naysayers are easy to find. They're a dime a dozen.
That's
right. But, I mean, I feel like, and this is something that I keep telling people, like, books you don't have to compete with. When book lovers go to a store, they intend to buy more than one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, you may not like, you don't have to like each other, but that shopper may like all of your stuff, may just walk away with all of it, and to tell somebody that they can't pursue their dream to write and then not give them the tools to help them work is like saying, well, once there's one burger place, nothing else should exist. I'm like, look at how many, we got Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's.
They're usually right next to each other.
Like all of them. Now, their formulas are different. Their meals taste different, but it's all the same basic meal.
Yes, it is.
but you
Yes, it
can
is.
tell the difference. Like, and that's the same thing that happens when you have authors. You have a specific voice. You have
Mhm.
a way you organize your words that is different from the next person. So let people just go
Oof,
ahead and get their
that's good.
fries from here and their burger from there and they shake from here. It's gonna be all right. It's not.
I
It's
love
not
that.
gonna touch you.
You know what, people? Y'all heard what she said. Y'all heard Miss Miko say, get your burger from over here, your fries from over there, and get your shake from over there. Be an author. Write the story. There's somebody who needs what you have to share. You just got to get it done. All right. So, Miss Miko, we are going to close out. But this has been a fantastic, fantastic time with you. Okay. And you
This
dropped quite a few gems. You have quite a few gems that you dropped in teaching us on tonight. Okay. So tell people, where can they pick up your books and how can they keep in contact or get in contact with you and follow you on social media?
Okay. Currently my IG is Miko Moments. Facebook is Miko Moments. Website is now MikoMarsh.com, but if you accidentally type in MikoMoments.com, it should still redirect you.
Okay.
Email info@MikoMarsh.com. That's MikoMarsh.com. And
Okay.
I am pretty much universal. My books are wide. So any place you find me. In fact, these two are in a few libraries right now. So if you're debating over what to buy, whatever, go ahead and see if you can find these at the library first. Because if you like me, you know, I like free.
That's
So
right.
go ahead and
Me
check
and
them out there. Some of them are available in audio format. I haven't translated everything yet. Living with Jezebel is also available in Spanish. So
Ooh.
whatever is necessary. And so we have paperback, e-back, hardcover, audio format, library, and basically any ebook retail platform.
There you go. There's no excuse, readers. There's no excuse as to why you cannot find Miss Miko. Okay? Because she told you, wherever you get your ebooks from, you can find her. No excuses. No excuses. No excuses. All right, you guys, that is it for the Black Authors Rock podcast. I am your host, the Vice President of the Rochester Black Authors Association, Ebony Nicole. And as always, on YouTube, you can find us at the Rochester Black Authors Association, on Instagram, rock_BAA, as well as on Facebook at rockBAA2015, and on Spotify at the Black Authors Rock Podcast. You guys can find us. You know where we are. Our website is rockbaa.org. Visit us, send us some messages, talk with us, because we are really, really excited about you being on this journey, and we want to help you in any possible way that we can. If you are an aspiring author, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to start, let's talk. Just send us a message and we can point you in some directions to help you get your book done this year or maybe next year, just to keep you motivated. Okay. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please be sure to just make them down below or send us a message and we will be sure to address you. Until next time, you guys, get your book done, keep writing, keep publishing, keep believing and knowing that your voice and your words matter and they need to be released. Until then, have a good one.